take you over. Hare Krishna. Good to see you.
He did the yajna 10 years ago when you were in
Yeah, I
China.
remember.
Yes, and when I showed it to him, he says, tell him I say that.
Please give him my best. Nirmatsaro Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripabaro Bhuvi Bhuva Bharavahantharako Bande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We have an opportunity to hear and chant to our heart's content for the next 2 hours. And tonight we'll start with a song by Srinivasa Acharya, one of the great acharyas in our line of disciplic succession, who wrote about the so-called 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who were the direct disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What's more, they showed by example, chanting, dancing, bowing down, Vyaji Mam Namaskaru, Mani Vaishyasi Yukvarvam Atmanam Aparayanam. So become my devotee, bow down to me, worship me, always think of me. And Srinivasa Acharya talks about 6 Goswamis as follows. Krishna Kirtanam Ritambo Apriya Priyakaro Nirmachara Pujito Chaitanya Kripabaro Bhuvi Bhuva Mera Matariko Shri Jiva Goviva Gopalako Shri Gauranga Gunarnavana Vido Nanda Vido Nanda Gatu Shava Krishna Mahanishambra Bhajato Dena Samohito I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami. Oh, can everyone please move up? What do you go by in this country? Meters? Inches? Huh? Feet? Move up by 10 feet each. 7.2 inches move up. Especially the artists. Any artist making a masterpiece, move up closer. Okay? Because other devotees will come in. We fit as many as 3,000 people in here. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are always engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and dancing. They are just like the ocean of love of God, and they are popular both with the gentle and with the ruffians. Because they are not envious of anyone, whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone. And they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus they are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the conditioned souls, or a representative of the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Adyeti tat sarvamidam vadita yogi param stano bhaiti chandam. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the very end of the 8th chapter, which concerns how to prepare oneself to go back to the spiritual world. After all, this lifetime is a portal. It's a platform. It's an Uber. We're not meant to stay here forever. We don't own it. We have an opportunity from this life, which is very, very rare. Labhavam sadurlavam vidam bahusam bhavante manusham artatam anityam pihadira. It's anitya. It's not eternal, this body. But we have an opportunity to trade it in for an eternal return and reward. That is, by using it in the service of Krishna. And so, there, which is the home of Venkata. And there, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed for many, many months and engaged in dancing before the deities there, and also discussing with the great Brahmin scholar Venkata about the ultimate purpose of life and how to attain it. In a very light mood one day, he asked Venkatavata, who is a devotee of Lakshmi Narayan, how is it that your Lakshmiji had tried to enter into the Rasa Lila? Of course, there's no harm in it, because Lakshmiji and Srimati Radharani and the Gopis, they're all from the same category of internal energy, no difference. But why was she not able to enter? And Venkatavata said, you please tell me. You're a sannyasi. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, Nayam Sukhapo Bhagavan Dehinam Gopikasita Jnaninam Chattabhutanam Yata Bhaktimatam Iha. That if one takes to the process of bhakti by following the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, who have natural, spontaneous love for Krishna, then one can very easily please Krishna and enter into his abode. As is advice of Srila Rupa Goswami, who writes in his Upadeshamrita, Tannama Rupa Charitari Sikirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasanamanasim Yoja Tishtan Vraje Tanaduragi Jananugan. For the devotees who are performing those activities in relationship to Krishna in the spiritual world, and very easily one can advance to the spiritual world in that way. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was the nephew of Venkata and Sri Sanatana Goswami. And he says of them, in the mood of the gopis, and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. They showed us how Krishna has given us clear direction from the Shastra, how to approach him. For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mamekam Sharanam Braja, and now you finish. Which means that please just surrender to me, and I'll deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not worry, do not fear, do not hesitate. And he gives further instruction in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Ratha Yatra in Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while dancing and dancing before Lord Jagannath, was singing a song. And people could not understand why he was singing this song, because it was about a love affair from the material world. But Rupa Goswami could understand the meaning of that song, that it related to Krishna's and Radha's pastimes, especially at Kurukshetra, when they had met there after a long time. And he wrote a parallel verse which explained the verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read that verse, mind and heart. So Rupa Goswami of the six Goswami is known as, from the prayer, Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. It means Srila Rupa Goswami could understand the exact purpose for which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the world. And he could understand his heart. For us, they compiled all the Vedic literatures that are most important, Srila Rupa down, publishing that for the edification of devotees everywhere. And Srila Prabhupada gave us the summary study called the Nectar of Devotion, and Srila Rupa Goswami also gave us the reactions of their sinful activities by pouring upon them transcendental songs about Govinda. As such, they are very expert in increasing the limits of the ocean of transcendental bliss, and they are the saviors of the living entities from the devouring mouth of liberation. This morning, we talked about the ways that we must be attracted to the beautiful form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, the default for everyone is to be attracted to the varieties of the material world. Some people try to avoid all variety and become senseless and merge into the Lord's impersonal existence. The Srimad Bhagavatam says, Yenei ravindaksha vamuktamaninas toyasta bhavad avashudha budaya aruya krishnena paramparam tata patantyato nadrita yushmarangraya. That unless we come to the form of the Lord, then we have no standing anywhere. And patantyada, from whatever place we have found temporary shelter, will fall back down again. So the Goswamis have very kindly showed us how to take shelter of Govinda, who is the master of the senses, and whose form is beautiful, whose pastimes are enchanting. Srinivas offers his respectful obeisances to the 6 Goswamis and says, they kicked off all association of aristocracy as insignificant. In order to deliver the poor conditioned souls, they accepted loincloths, treating themselves as mendicants, but they are always merged in the ecstatic ocean of the gopis' love for Krishna and bathe always and repeatedly in the waves of that ocean. Rupa and Sanatana Goswami were highly placed in the government of the Nawab. And kirtan performances at night with thousands of people. And when he met Rupa and Sanatan, who at that time were known as Devir Kash and Sakara Malik, he welcomed them as old friends. And he initiated them there as Rupa and Sanatan. And going back to their work, they were very anxious to join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he told them to bide their time and wait for the opportunity to come and join him. Went on the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan. And there it's mentioned that they stayed under a different tree every night. Just recently giving a class about how when he first came to Krishna consciousness, he had read about the austerities of the 6 Goswamis, and he wanted to live like them. So he decided that he would give away everything. He just had a little bag with a cup in it, and every night he went to stay under a different tree. And he said after the first night, it went so well, he thought, maybe I'll just stay at this tree. Then he resisted and said, no, I have to move on to another tree, and another and another. That's why it's mentioned here that they slept under a different tree every night. So once when Srila Prabhupada was on a morning walk, he stopped and pointed to a pile of dung from birds who were sitting above in the tree, and pointing with his cane, he asked his senior disciples, what does this mean? And they tried to think philosophically, but they couldn't come up with anything that seemed reasonable. So they said, well, Prabhupada, it's bird droppings. He said, what it means is there's a bird that's so attached to this tree, he stays on the same branch every night. Although this world is inward, they took shelter upon the living entities, the greatest boon of the goal of life. He says they were also engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord and bowing down in a scheduled measurement. In this way, they utilized their valuable lives, and in executing these devotional activities, they conquered overeating and sleeping, and were always meek and humble, enchanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of the Lord. The Goswamis sometimes were on the bank of the Radhakund Lake or the shores of the Jamuna, and sometimes in Vamshibat. There they appeared just like madmen in the full ecstasy of love for Krishna, exhibiting different transcendental symptoms in their bodies, and they were merged in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. And finally, he writes, the Goswamis were chanting very loudly everywhere in Vrindavan, shouting, Queen of Vrindavan, Radharani, O Lalita, O son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you all now? Are you just on the hill of Govardhan, or are you under the trees on the banks of the Jamuna? Where are you? These were their moods in executing Krishna consciousness. De rupa sanatano raghuyado Shri Jiva Gopalako De rupa sanatano raghuyado Shri Jiva Gopalako Go Premanande Hari Hari In the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna meets with Lord Brahma. Notable in that meeting in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that Krishna is very sweet, because upon giving instruction to Brahma, who is charged with creating the forms of the material world, he then wishes him good fortune. And he says, Bhadram te. Try saying that. Bhadram te. And he shakes his hand. It's one of the reasons we know that Krishna is a person. Because how are you going to shake hands unless you're a person? And how do you know he's sweet? Because he shook hands. It's a sweet thing to do. He shook hands with Brahma and said, good luck, Brahma, with your duties of creating the material world. There he gave 4 verses, which are known as the seed verses of the Bhagavatam. And in one of them he says, Ritertam yat pratyeta na pratyeta chatmani tad vidyat atmano mayam yatabaso yatatamaha. He says that if you see anything in this world that appears to be separate from the Lord, know that to be my illusory energy. It's a reflection which appears in darkness. So the meaning is that everything comes from Krishna, everything's part of Krishna. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartite. Everything emanates from me. The wise who knows this engage in full devotion to me. And since everything comes from the Lord, everything's connected to Him, He's also the controller and owner of everything. This is confirmed in the Sri Upanishad. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita magradha kasasudanam. Everything animate or inanimate within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for oneself, which are set aside as one's quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong, says the Sri Upanishad. Everything comes from Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna, and everything's controlled by Krishna. He's the supreme controller. However, there's an errant way of looking at the world and thinking that something's separate from Krishna. That's illusory, because everything's part of Krishna and everything's controlled by Krishna. So he says, this idea that if you see something separate from me, that's illusion. And in the purport to that verse, which is extensive, at the last section, in the last paragraph, Srila Prabhupada writes something that we may take advantage of. He says that the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of His internal potency. And it is by that potency that one can come to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. I'll repeat it, and then I want to see if you have any comments or questions about it. He says, does Srila Prabhupada, that the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of the Lord's internal potency. And it is by that potency that one comes to see the Lord face. I'll say it one more time. The order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of His internal potency. And it is by that potency that one comes to see the Lord face to face. You could say something like, well, what does it mean? Or what does it mean to us? Who said? What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Well, Krishna is a person, and he's fully conscious and fully independent. This is mentioned in the first verse of the Bhagavatam. He's spiritual. So when Krishna has an idea or a desire and he speaks of it, he's called Satya Sankalpa, because that thing will become, or does become, or is a reality, because he's the supreme reality, Satyam. And so when he gives an instruction, for instance, if he asked you to do something and then you did it, you're connecting with Krishna by embracing the order. And as Prabhupada's instruction continues, it's by doing that, by following the order, which is part of Krishna, it's part of his internal, his higher energy. So what does it mean for us? What do you think? Go ahead, Mathura Kripa Prabhu.
It could mean that we have to study the Bhagavad Gita to learn what the Lord's instructions are.
So what are some of the instructions that you've studied?
Well, for example, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, "Become my devotee, offer your obeisances unto me, think of me, and worship me." It says it twice in the Bhagavad Gita. So by coming to see the Lord, offering our obeisances, worshiping Him, we're fulfilling that instruction.
To everybody.
Yes?
Is it called an open order? Flower or a flute. And Krishna says what about it if you offer him a flute, a flower with devotion? And then he says he'll accept it. And Prabhupada mentions that if Krishna accepts something for you, your life will be complete. And we find then that Krishna gives, through the Bhagavad Gita, suggestions, orders, that anyone can follow and therefore come to meet Krishna face to face. We find in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Sanatana Goswami that Bhaktivedanta Goswami, and included there, Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur says, Krishna, by instructing Arjuna, has saved the whole world. What does it mean?
But because it was later on revealed to everyone, yes, of course.
Very good. That sounds advantageous for us. What about that Krishna spoke to Arjuna on the battlefield, but that was something like 5,000 years ago? Is that a disadvantage to us? Yes or no, why or why not? Who wants to answer? Okay, go ahead. Yes, Subhadra, go ahead.
Because we're still the eternal soul, and this knowledge is eternal, so it's eternally the same. It never ages, and we never age.
It never ages, we never age. Is the Bhagavad Gita just as effective here, wherever we are? I don't know if we're in Lechmore Heath or what. Yeah. Well, we are, but we're kind of in an embassy for the spiritual world. But wherever we are, and let's say whatever continent we are, we might be in the United States or the United Kingdom, wherever. If we read the Bhagavad Gita and we listen to it with faith, does it have the same potency do Krishna's words have the same potency as at this time that they did when he was speaking? Go ahead, Gorkishore.
Prabhupada talks about water is always wet, fire is always hot. So because the nature of the living entity is always to serve. You can never change it. So when you come in contact with that eternal principle of service, then it will automatically
to align. They're as powerful as they are. What if we were to follow the instruction? Is his internal potency for anyone who's sincere and who listens to Bhagavad Gita and considers that this is Krishna speaking directly, and he's speaking to me directly as much as he was speaking to Arjuna directly, because I'm also his part and parcel. And if we take advantage of any of Krishna's teachings in the Bhagavad Gita and follow them, then we'll naturally and immediately be connected to his internal potency. And simply by following those instructions faithfully, as Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita 3:31, would it be unreasonable for me to ask for a Bhagavad Gita? Is it? You always have one. Chakujavena always has a Bhagavad Gita, in case anyone wants to know. I'm going to read you a purport that people will notice that you've been infused to you. You can tell them, you can report to them. I was in a session somewhere near Watford, and I was listening to Bhagavad Gita, 9 years of age. Ye me matam midam nityam anutishtanti manava shadavanto nasuyanto to muchante te pikarma bihi. 3:31, mark it, but don't get a tattoo. Because I used to say that, and now I see everyone's getting tattoos. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions, and who follow this teaching faithfully, without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive activities. I'm going to read it one more time. Are you ready?
Yes.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions, and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Purport. The injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. Now I have a question for you. What did you hear? Repeat back what you heard. Yes. Well, we'd like to share the microphone. The Vedas are eternal.
As it is.
Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Stands as it is.
Stands as it
It
is.
wouldn't change. Nobody can change it.
Don't change it.
No, don't change.
Okay. What else did you hear? Yes.
Even if you can't execute something perfectly, if you shouldn't resent the principle, and it'll be okay. You'll reach that eventually.
Yeah. If you're following it sincerely, even if you can't do it perfectly, your intention will qualify you to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, and you'll come to the perfect stage by Krishna's arrangement. This is also confirmed by Krishna in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where he says, Api chet sudaracharo bhajate mamananya bhag sadhureva samantavya samyag vyavasito hisa, which means that even if you exhibit worldliness, if you're intent on following Krishna's instructions, even if at some point you're unsteady and you're not able to do it perfectly, because you have a determination to do it, Krishna says, you're to be considered saintly. And then he affirms in the next verse, Shri Prabhavati Dharmatma Shashva Shantin Gachati Kaunteya Prajinani Hi Nami Bhakti Pranashiti. That very quickly you'll become purified by the pure intention that you have to follow the instruction, even if you can't do it perfectly. What else did you hear? Anything else? Yes?
Hare Krishna. Actually, I have a question, and this is regarding the concept of envy. It comes so many times throughout the pages of Bhagavad Gita. So what does it practically mean for a devotee to have envy towards the Lord, like practicing without envy? If you can elaborate on that, please.
Yeah, it's a somewhat painful topic to consider envy, or to have envy within the heart. In the 7th chapter of the Gita, Krishna says, Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge anti parantapa. That the atmosphere of the material world is surcharged with icha and dvesha. Icha means self-desire, and dvesha means aversion to others, but especially the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, as we discussed this morning, there's a phenomenon in which one denies the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of wanting to be free from any supreme controller and to be independent. I think I quoted from Bhagavatam, Payam Dvitya Abhinibesha Tasad Ishad Apetasya Viparya Yosmiti. In this verse from the 11th canto, it's mentioned that Apetasya means we've turned away from Krishna as Isha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the idea of usurping his position. Viparya Yosmiti means we have an opposite mentality from our ultimate good in our nature, which is to be his servant. And therefore, we work to separate ourselves from the Lord and be free from his control. As an example, Prabhupada mentions in this purport that some may hear Krishna's instruction and then alter it because they think they know better than Krishna's instruction. And this is an exhibition of a kind of envy, that I know better than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the other hand, in the verse, Krishna is saying, Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manava. That if you hear the instruction and you accept it as it is, and you simply follow it, then you'll be successful, because it's true without exception. But because of an irrational sense of wanting to compete against the Lord and to be the controller oneself, then one may try to give a different meaning. And so, the Bhagavatam says, Tanmayato Buddha Avajatam Bhaktyaka Yesham Gurudeva Tatma. To overcome this, one should simply turn back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and try to follow his instruction. And the epitome of such a person, Krishna describes in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, what he says, Dukeshu anuvigna manaha, sukeshu vigataspriha, vitaraga bhaya krodha, stitadir muna uchite. When a person becomes free from envy and situated in pure consciousness, stitadir muna uchite, he accepts the Lord's instruction as it is, without interpreting it. That's why he's called the Stitadir Muni. Most munis, including in academics, if they don't have a different opinion from everyone else to distinguish themselves, then they're not considered to be exalted. But a Stitadir Muni is somebody who's simple and therefore says, if Krishna said it, I'll just accept it as it is, and I won't add or subtract anything. And that's what who the verse is talking about. And he said that such a person then is freed from the anomalies, including envy. It's a deep topic, and we can become introspective and notice within ourselves the tendency to become disappointed if somebody else is better than us. Is that detectable? Not so much. Don't leave me all alone here. If you've ever detected a sense of discomfort at the success of somebody else, thinking, why couldn't it have been me? Or those feelings aren't necessary, because we're eternal. We all have an exalted nature in relationship with our service to Krishna. And it's perfectly aligned when we're simple and we just serve as a Stitadir Muni. We accept Krishna's instruction. So this is one of the most important aspects of Krishna consciousness, is to be aware of that tendency and to take shelter of Krishna's instruction. He gives open instructions. Anyone can take advantage of them. And we can be satisfied with our own sincerity in following them and not envy either Krishna or those who are following the instructions apparently better than we are, if we take shelter of our sincerity. So it's an effect of turning away from Krishna and getting absorbed in something that's not Krishna. And then we get all turned around. So we should turn back to the order of Krishna. This is our safety. That's what this verse means, is that Krishna has given us an order. He's given us direction. He's spoken it directly to save us. And if we'll accept it as it is without meddling with it and simply follow it directly. I'll read it again. Krishna says, those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruit of actions. So it's simple for the simple, and if we accept it and we are faithful to it, then we'll experience Krishna's mercy, which will include being freed from burning envy in the material world, because we'll feel satisfied that I don't need to usurp anybody else's position, including Krishna's, because as a eternal part and parcel of Krishna, which is kind of a technical term, we are completely happy and complete in that service. So we should take shelter of it. Do you have any follow-up question? Go ahead, Mathura Kripa.
What is the most important instruction of the Bhagavad Gita?
I'm sorry? What did you say? Divyanam Prabhu suggested Sarvadharman Prityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja Ham Tvam Sarva Papipyo Mokshai Shami Masajaha. That verse is a great relief, because if you think about it, and let me read it to you, because when I read you this verse, it's the first verse I read from Prabhupada's purport, because it was in a magazine, the verse and the purport, and I got it back to Guided Magazine and I read it, and I thought that it sounded like a good idea. And so here it is. Anybody know where it is? If somebody wakes you up at 1 in the morning and says, "Where's Sarvadharma Parityaja Mamikam Sharada?" you should be able to say where it is, because you've read the verse so many times. When's the last time you heard this purport? Just hold up a show of fingers for how many months it's been. It's been a while, right? 1 month? Okay. Even if it was 1 minute ago, reading this purport is so uplifting that it's a partner with the other verse we just read. Krishna says, "Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear." The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and processes of religion. Knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Supersoul, knowledge of the different types of orders and statuses of social life, knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways different types of religion. Now, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions, for the Lord personally promises to protect him. In the 7th chapter, it was said that only one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. Thus, one may think that unless he is free from all sinful reactions, he cannot take to the surrendering process. To such doubts, it is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, he is automatically freed. There is no need of strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. Without faith and love, one should surrender unto him. The process of surrender to Krishna is described in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Anakulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyatiti vishvaso goptritve varanam tata atma nishepa karpanye shad vidha sharanagati. Everyone following so far? Yes. According to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principles that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. One may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order, but if by executing his duty one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. There is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis for his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engages himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, At once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. There are different processes of religion and purificatory processes by cultivation of knowledge, meditation in the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. The simple surrender unto Krishna, that simple surrender unto Krishna, will save him from unnecessarily wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once and be freed from all sinful reactions. One should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the Supreme Brahman vision. Some of them are attracted by the supersoul feature, etc. But one who is attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and above all, one who is attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna himself, is the most perfect transcendentalist. Ready for the last part? Okay, 30%'s ready. Keep going? All right. In other words, devotional service to Krishna in full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics, and devotees are all called transcendentalists, but one who is a pure devotee is the best of all. The particular words used here, ma shuchaha, everybody say it. Ma shuchaha. Don't fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, are very significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender under Krishna, but such worry is useless. And Prabhu, in regard to your question about envy, there's a pervasive sense in those who have a material body in this world that only I should live, everyone else should die. So, like, you might see people who notice another living entity and then disturb it. For instance, sometimes a cruel person might see a bug and then just step on it mercilessly, because one might see the form of that bug and think, well, you're insignificant and ugly, and why are you even walking on the same earth as me? Therefore, I will kill you. This is a sense of envy. Whereas Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita the clearing of this kind of envy by seeing reality. Vidya vinaya sambhane brahmani gavihastani shuni chayurshpakecha pandita samadarshina. That a person who's Krishna conscious sees everybody as a spiritual soul and feels reverence and respect towards each person, because he or she notices that the Supreme Personality of God, the soul is within the heart, and feels a sense of being kindred with all life because they're Krishna conscious. And so much of that envy comes from that sense of being separated from Krishna, that I'm different from everybody else. Those who are non-envious also feel compassion for others. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Atma sampamye, saying, Atma pamyena sarvatra samam pashiti Arjuna, sukham va yadivadukam sayogi paramo mataha. Krishna describes what the parama yogi, or the topmost yogi, feels. And it's empathy. Empathy. Pathy means to feel, and em means to feel what's inside other people and what they're going through. So he says, Atmau pamyena sarvatra, which means to empathize with others, to feel compassion for what other people are going to. Sukham va yadivad dukam, because one knows that being in the material world and separated from Krishna is painful. And for somebody who has the perspective of being safely in Krishna's service, surrendered in Krishna's service, he wants other people, she wants other people to come to that safe position and not be harassed by the ups and downs of the material world. And Krishna says, for one who's developed this empathy for the living entities, is known as a parama yogi. It's the best of all yogis. And in fact, we find emphasized throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam the sense of compassion that great devotees have for others. For instance, Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, mentions that some people go to secluded places to practice sadhana, or just say to do sadhana, that will benefit them. And he said, but I'm not interested in that, because I don't want to leave the populated areas where people are overcome by passion and ignorance and are carrying a burden on their head. I would like to be near them so that I can participate in giving them an opportunity to come out of that sense of anxiety that they're in the material world. And this is an exhibition of the diminishment of envy. Whereas Prahlad Maharaj indicates, as does Srila Prabhupada, that those who would prefer to go off on their own and purify themselves independently are exhibiting a kind of envy because they don't have regard for the suffering of others. Whereas Vaishnavas are part of dukkha dukkhi. They suffer because of the sufferings of others, and because they know that they have a remedy that will help them, they engage themselves quite particularly in administering that to other people. That is the remedy, so they can become free from the material influence. And this is the mode of the highest worship. In fact, the lowest level of devotee, known as a Kanishta Adhikari, it's the very beginning stage, is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Archaryam eva haraye pujam yasharayate na tad bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakritasmritaha. The 9 Yogendras who are teaching Maharaj Nimi. And this is one of the teachings of the Yogendras about the different levels of devotees. So, Archaryam eva haraye. They worship Hari in the deity form only. And this doesn't mean that everyone worshiping the deity form of the Lord is in the lowest position. But what it means is some only see Krishna in the deity, but they don't recognize that Krishna is in the hearts of other living beings. And also, they don't know how to do good for them. Archarya me baharaye pujanya shraye hete na tad bhakteshu cha anyeshu means they don't know how to respect others, but they don't know how to respect devotees. They don't recognize that devotees are so beloved of Krishna that to worship devotees is even more important than worshiping Krishna. They don't know that. And cha anyeshu means they also don't know how to do good for others. They only think of doing good for themselves, and they don't have the wherewithal to help other people. And so he says, one of the Yogendras, I've forgotten which one it is, Kavi Haviyanta Riksha Prabhuda Peoplena Arahotra Chamasa Drumila Shri Antariksha and Karbajana. Who spoke this? Cha Anyeshu. So then he says that the next level of devotee is called the Madhyama, the middle, very exalted. And the symptom of the next level, Ishvare tadadineshu balisheshu dusatucha prema maitri kripopeksha yakaroti samadhyama. The Madhyama Adhikari makes distinctions of the world for efficiency, sees the Supreme Lord. He knows who the Supreme Lord is and recognizes his presence and tries to develop love for Krishna. He sees those who are devotees of Krishna and respects them. It's a very high level of worship. In fact, it's mentioned in the Padatis, the ways of worshiping the deity, the archer form of the Lord. Is that safe? Doesn't look safe. He says that the Arjuna Padatis say, if you're worshiping the deity and a Vaishnav comes, you should stop worshiping the deity, greet the Vaishnav, make sure the Vaishnav's properly respected, and then you can go back to worshiping the deity. Otherwise, Krishna won't be pleased. I'll give you more evidence of that. When Krishna went to see his two devotees, Krishna was in Dwarka and he went to see his devotees in Mithila. There was Bahulashva and Shrutadev. Shrutadev was a poor Brahmana and he was a great devotee of the Lord. He used to worship his deity every day and he kept thinking, I'm going to go see Krishna, but he couldn't get away because he was so busy worshiping Krishna at home. And Bahulashva was a king. And he was always thinking of Krishna, worshiping Krishna, but he also couldn't get away. I'm already finished? Okay. And Krishna then decided to go see them. So he called for his chariot, and then sages that had come to see Krishna, well, let me say it another way. Krishna invited sages from all over the universe to come with him to visit these devotees. Normally, sages don't go on chariots. But when the Supreme Personality of Godhead invites you to hop on, you get on. So as he went down the pathway to this faraway city, millions of people lined the streets to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead pass. And although he passed at the speed of the mind, he was able to make personal contact with every single living being as he made his journey there. And when he reached the town, both Bahulashva and Shrutadev came out to greet the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna does something that he does frequently, which is he wanted to satisfy them both. And therefore, he expanded himself for both Shrutadev and Bahulashva. Bahulashva thought, Krishna is coming to my house, and Shrutadev thought, he's coming to my house. And both were true, because Krishna can do that. But what he did this time is he also made himself into the sages. So the sages went to Shrutadev's house with Krishna, and the sages went with Krishna to see Bahulashva. Now Bahulashva offered Krishna a great opulent seat to sit on, and he had refreshments for all the sages, and a royal reception. Whereas Shrutadev had very little. He had to go to the neighbors to borrow a few straw mats to offer the guests who had come, including the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now getting to the point, they both worship Krishna. When Shrutadev was glorifying Krishna, he said, did Krishna, please stop it. He said, all these sages are here. You glorify them, not me. And there the acharyas mentioned how this is Krishna's preference. He's so preferential to his devotees that in an assembly where somebody's honoring Krishna, he prefers it if you worship his devotee. And so those who are Madhyama Adhikaris can understand the exalted position of Vaishnavas. As that Ishvare Tadadineshu. Therefore, such a person makes friendships with devotees in appropriate ways. And this is very important. Rupa Goswami says, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranati vishta bhajantamisham shushushaya bhajanamvidna mananyamanya nindadi shunya hridamipsita sangalabhya. One should recognize the various levels of devotees. The Prabhupada said, going back to envy, there's a way in which he said, a group of people of different levels of advancement come into the same room. And then the ones of lower stature say, okay, well, we'll just take it that we're all equal. In fact, the demons did that during the churning of the milk ocean. there was an exchange like that. We should see the levels that if somebody can say Hare Krishna, like we met people in Watford today that said Hare Krishna so sweetly, it would melt your heart. Like the lady I talked to popped out from the service door to have a little ciggy. And she ended up popping her head out in the light, and she ended up with a Bhagavad Gita and no lighter to go back in. And she said Hare Krishna so nicely. And so many other people. There was another young woman who was walking along there, and we stopped her, and I went like this, and then she went like that. And I thought, wait a minute, you're not an Indian, and what's going on here? But the whole exchange ended up just with, minus all the details, those who were there, I remember them, but she ended up with a Bhagavad Gita, and at the end she said, Hare Krishna, so nicely. So Rupa Goswami says, if you hear somebody say that, you should think, this person is the best of all the people here in Watford, because they can say Hare Krishna, because it's not ordinary. And then the next level, he says, somebody who's dedicated his or her life to chanting. And this is not ordinary. We should have such a sense of respect for our fellow devotees that have taken a vow to chant Hare Krishna. Rupa Goswami says, you should have so much appreciation for them that you should demonstratively honor them with some kind of obeisance. Just put your head on the ground in front of them. That should be automatic feeling that we have. And then he said, you'll find others who are nindadi shunya. They've obviously reached some sort of level of purification where they're no longer acerbic and envious, and therefore they've given up the propensity to criticize others. It's noticeable when you're around somebody like that. And so he said, for those, you should try to get association and do service. So, and then he says, for the innocent, if you meet an innocent person, you should try to pour in as much mercy as possible. Give them every advantage possible. And this is the lifestyle of the Vaishnavas. They live in such a place where they can have easy access to devotees, to Krishna, and that they can go to meet people and give them the opportunity to also get Krishna's association. That's a devotee lifestyle, don't you think? That reminds me of all of you. Living here together in this community. That's what you're doing. And then he says, if somebody's not for you and very seriously against you, then you should avoid him. Does that sound good? Save you a lot of time and energy, right? You can be upeksha, or you can avoid such people. So this gives us clarity about how to follow Krishna's mood in the Bhagavad Gita. And a clear order of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is known as an open order because of the circumstances he taught that Kurma. Does anybody remember Kurma? He was a Brahmana in South India. Did anybody go to Kurmakshetra? Does anybody want to go to Kurmakshetra? There's turtles there, you know. Lots of them. And it's a beautiful place where Lord Chaitanya went. Any place Lord Chaitanya went is beautiful. You know, he went everywhere and he just danced in ecstasy. And we can do that too, because it's so nice to see Krishna here, there, and everywhere. So anyway, in South India, he set an example for everybody. He went to visit this Brahmin named Kurma, and there he stayed at his house, and he taught how Kurma could be exemplary by inviting people to come to his home and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and learning the Bhagavad Gita locally. And then when Lord Chaitanya left to go on his tour, Kurma said, I'm coming with you. And then Lord Chaitanya said, no, don't come with me. stay here and teach other people about Krishna. He said, in that way, we'll never be separated. And if you teach Krishna consciousness to others, you'll always remain in a transcendental state. And in this pastime, which includes him meeting a leper named Vasudeva and giving him a similar instruction, we find from Srila Prabhupada, from the author Kaviraj Goswami, imparting the ways in which Lord Chaitanya taught, that this is an open order for everyone that Lord Chaitanya gave, which is to be Krishna conscious and then teach everybody else that you meet, and we look for the innocent ones, about Krishna consciousness. And that way, you'll always remain with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You'll never be separated. And this is the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead who's within everyone's heart. Do you believe me? Yes. Why? Why do you believe me? Prove it. How can you prove that that's the highest method of worshiping Krishna within everyone's heart? Give me pramanam from the Shastra. Yes? Go ahead. We want Sanskrit. All right, give him the microphone.
I do not recall the whole verse, but it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam Mahajanosya Gatha Sapanta that we have examples of our acharyas, our more recent acharya, founder acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He did exactly what you were describing. He went here and there, everywhere, and preached Krishna consciousness to the people all over the world. And he had the Samadarshina sense, and he could see that there's God in everyone's heart. So wherever he saw a little bit of that spark, he fanned it further so that they can come to Krishna consciousness. So that's my understanding. And
thank you for making such a strong point. Follow in the footsteps of the acharyas. And this is one of the most important principles in Krishna consciousness. That we may not be a great sage, but if we follow in the footsteps of the great sages, don't imitate, but try to follow in their footsteps, then you're eligible for the same result. Mahajana Yena Katasa Panta. And also from Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, Sutta Goswami says, Bejare Muniyotagre Bhagavantam Adhoksajan Sattvam Vishudam Shemaya Kalpante Ye Nutaniha. Which means that previously the great sages worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if one follows in the footsteps of those sages, then one's eligible for the same result, even if you're not a sage. How about this? In the pastime of churning the milk ocean, there was a slight glitch at the very beginning. Does anybody remember what it was? A slight glitch? What was it? What? The mountain was sinking, but after they got the mountain churning, what was this other slight glitch? I'm being euphemistic. Okay, what? Poison. What was it called?
Kulakuta, Kalakuta.
Hala hala? It doesn't sound good. You don't want hala hala. So, it was going to inundate the universe. And so Shukadeva Goswami exalts Lord Shiva, and he says, Lord Shiva came to save everybody, and he quaffed that poison. He so powerfully took the whole ocean of poison and he drank it. And it stayed in his throat. That's why he's called Nilakanta. Turned his throat blue. Now, Shukadeva Goswami says, Tapyante lakata pena sava prayasojana parama aradhanam taddi purushasa kilapana. That the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead who's present within everyone's heart is to take some austerity on oneself to help them, to do good for them. This is the highest method of worshiping the Lord. So this is the mood of the great acharyas, paradukaduki, try to do good for others by giving them an opportunity to take Krishna consciousness. Just last night, we went to the Gurukula, and we had a rousing session there of training, book distribution training. Was anybody there? who can bear witness that we did it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we went out. How hot was it last night?
35 degrees Celsius.
The kids demanded that they go outside on book distribution. So it was 35 degrees, I think. And we went somewhere, some neighborhood, I think it was Bushy or something like that. And we went to Bushy and we went knocking on doors and went house to house. And it was impressive because people were noticeably bored and grumpy. That's a word I learned while I'm in England, grumpy. They were grumpy. And when they saw the kids outside offering them an opportunity for whatever they didn't even know what they were offering, but they just looked at the kids and they thought, well, they look so charming, let me take advantage of this. And they took it. Then there was this sense of happiness that they'd gotten an opportunity to take Krishna consciousness. And this was a little bit of an austerity because it's not so easy to leave your comfort zone and go out into a place where you don't know what's going to happen next. And what I suggest is the tapyante lokatapena means that if you can take the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to give other people Krishna consciousness and take some trouble on yourself, which is going to come anyway. This is the doctrine of preemptive giving, which means, and listen carefully, everything you have will be unceremoniously taken away from you. So if you give it away preemptively, there will be nothing left for anybody to take, and then the joke's on them. Prabhupada said, you cheat death before death cheats you. So it's a good idea to try to divest yourself of any so-called attachments, or not so-called, they are attachments that you think are giving you some so-called comfort. And then trade that in for some austerity. Let's hear it for austerity. Yay! So Rishabhadeva, he says in his teachings to his sons, Nayam deho deho bhajam virloke kashtan kamam arhate vidbujamye tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam shudyed yasmad brahma saukyam tvanantam. And that is that don't be a pig. That's the instruction. What's the instruction? Yeah, don't be a pig. You can preach that far and wide. Don't be pig. Don't be a fat pig. Because that's what he said. I'm just repeating. Nayam deho deha bhajam viroke kashnam karama arhate vidbujamye. Vidbujamye, don't be a pig. Because pigs just think about themselves. In fact, they only think about their tongues. If you try to take a pig away from the ground, they'll squeal really loud. I saw it in Delhi. Tried to take a pig away in a rickshaw, and he screamed. He wants to keep his nose to the ground. So he said, rather than be a pig, tapo divyam. He says this sweet word, say it, tapo divyam. It's so sweet, it's divine austerity. Because if you're able to take divine austerity, nobody can touch you. Because we have independent choice to take austerity in our life. It means if you decide, I'm going to follow Krishna's instruction, that's my austerity. I don't care what comes. I'm going to follow the instruction, and I'm going to live in what other people consider discomfort, but it gives me the greatest comfort because I know I'm eternal. I know this life is temporary. I'm preemptively giving my so-called comfort away for the sake of pleasing Krishna, and the best way of doing that is try to do good for others. And if you live that lifestyle, because it's the lifestyle, and it is the lifestyle the Prabhupada lived, then you'll be following in the footsteps of Mahajano Yena Gatasapanta. And you'll have complete success in this lifetime, even if you think you're a nobody. And it only requires this sincerity to try to follow in the footsteps and take one clear order from the Supreme Personality of God and said, I don't care what happens in this life or who says what, I'm following it because Krishna said it, and that's final. And if we take that mood in our lives, and we don't have to be demonstrative or annoying about it, we just have to do it. And everyone will figure out what we're doing. Like Chanakya Pandit said, don't tell people how much money you have. Let them figure it out for themselves by your lifestyle. And in a similar way, we shouldn't announce to everybody how austere we are or try to be demonstrative about it. We should just do it and surrender to Krishna and decide for ourselves that we're going to follow his instruction no matter what comes, because this lifetime is a throwaway anyway, and it can be over at any time, so we might as well do it right now. So we're in a perfect position right now. Prabhupada bequeathed to us a system that is infallible. And we just read it, when was it? Yesterday. Was it yesterday? We read the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? Time's going by so fast. What did we do yesterday? Gurukula. Yeah, time goes by fast, but we read there, Prabhupada said you can bypass the whole material world and all the special rituals just by being a sincere devotee and taking to the simple process of bhakti as Prabhupada's given it and be successful. So we can do that, and that brings me to a thought, which is there's this bhajan that's in my head right now and I can't get it out. And so I just wanted to sing it. And I'm afraid to look at Divyanam Prabhu because I'm thinking I just took all the time that we had. But it goes like this. See if we can get this right. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Hari Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan Hari Gopinath Manan Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Bhakta Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Saras Raguna Chai Gosai Kori Charanam Manda Jaha Hoite Vignana Abhishtapura Hey Chai Gosai Jarmitarda Kansabara Para Renu Mura Panchaga Tandara Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanniva Tandara Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanniva Tandara Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanniva Janame Janame Hoy Abhida Hey Chai Gosai Jare Bhajakulaba Radha Krishna Nitya Koila Prakash Shri Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Koila Raka. Get ready. Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaktivedanta. Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaktivedanta. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padi Najaniyama. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Dharma Kori Aar. Harinam Sankirtan Kohe Naro Damodar. Kohe Nam Sankirtan Kohe Naro Damodar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go praise Sankirtan. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Beat that drum. Go, go, go. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay.
You have time.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Nitai Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Harinam Mahamantra ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki, Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Now I have to satisfy the soul of Divyanam Prabhu. Because he won't stop bugging me to hear this other bhajan. Which is a good thing. Because the thing about transcendental sound vibration and the acharyas is you can get attached to them. And you can also get attached to Vrindavan. If you go and you visit the Dham regularly and you do service there, then you'll start thinking about going back there, and we get attached to it. We're naturally attached. That's what a sentient being is attached to various things. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur talks about the ways in which we can become attached to all the devotional practices. And when you become attached to them, then your life is sublime, because what you really want all the time is to be engaged in devotional service, in the association of devotees, Bhakta Sanivas. And you're not even really aware that the material world's going on. In fact, if you've ever noticed, if you've done service for Rath Yatra or something, and you're inside for 3 days, or getting flowers ready and all cooking and everything, and then you go out to Watford and you notice that people are still walking around doing stupid stuff. Did you ever notice that? And then you go like, oh my God, this is still going on out here. Well, a life of devotional service means to live in the spiritual energy all the time. This is the protection of following the order of Krishna. The order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of his internal potency. And it's by following that instruction that one comes to see the Lord face to face in this lifetime. And in fact, as we follow the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even imperfectly, when we fall asleep at night and we're thinking, Krishna, I just want to follow your instruction, then we feel happy, satisfied, filled up. We can't wait to wake up in the morning because we know that we're connected to the internal potency. It doesn't mean you have to wait for many, many lifetimes. Immediately, as you decide, Krishna said, Sarva Dharma Prityaja, I don't care who else doesn't take it up, I'm taking it up. That's our prerogative. That's the wealth of the soul. That Krishna's there and he says, you surrender unto me, I'll totally take care of you in all circumstances. And we can decide at any moment that this is what I'm going to do. This is my life and I'm going to do it. And so, what was I saying about Divyanam Prabhu? That was that he's gotten attached to this bhajan and he keeps saying, can we hear it? Can we hear it again? Can we hear it again? Like, all right. We can hear it again. Because it's Bhaktivedanta Thakur. And nobody tops the Thakur. And his bhajans are fantastic and completely transcendental from the top of the spiritual sky. The acharyas led us into the spiritual world by writing these bhajans. And if we sing them again and again and we get stuck on them, then we're wealthy, spiritually wealthy. We're moved not by the material energy, but we're moved by the sounds from the spiritual world. Shreya kanta kanta parama purusha kalpataravo druma bhumischintamani ghanamayi toyam amritam kataganam natyam gamanam api vamshi priyasaki. In the spiritual world, everyone's moved by spiritual sound. So this is our life. And the song, which you may be wondering, you probably heard before, but it's one of my favorite songs too. I heard it once when I was on a parikrama at Govardhan Hill, early in the morning. I used to go out right after Mangalarti. It was still dark. And some mornings I was really tired and I thought, I don't know if I can make it again this morning. And then I'd follow behind somebody, a sadhu, because some of them, they go around once or twice a day and they just walk really fast. And so I just got behind a sadhu and I was just following him. And he only looked back a couple times to see who was following him. But at one point he started singing this song, and I heard it, and I was so taken with the song, I didn't know what it was. So I went home and looked it up and found out it was from Bhaktivedanta Thakur. That made me feel connected to that person, whoever he was. I never found out. But just because he was in the Bhaktivinoda Parivar or liked Bhaktivinoda, anybody who likes Bhaktivinoda I like. And this song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur is just an expression of delight in remembering all the personalities from Lord Chaitanya's Sanga and the different aspects of the Dham. And Ajastra, say Ajastra Smara. Smarare. Oh, always remember, just always remember these names. That's all you have to do. And then you'll be blessed by their association. So it goes like this. Bhajare, Bhajare Ama, Manati Manda. Read that. Bhajanagati naire Braja Braja Bane Radha Krishna Sharanaravinda Bhaja Saint Shivananda Smara Sadhu Jana Bhajana Ananda Smara Brajabhajari Chaure Rupanuga Sadhu Remember, always remember. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. I need to read that thing. Acronym. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. She has the thing that tells why you want it. Who has it? Nirkula. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nam bhajan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Harinam Mantra ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki, Prem Sankirtan Prabhu ki. Gaura Premanande. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. We are presenting a award on behalf of the Book Distribution Ministry to Bhaktivedanta Manor. And this award is one of the few Sharing Means Caring awards which is given out every year to exemplary communities. It's a beautiful framing you may see here. And this recognizes communities that consistently serve as shining examples of organized book distribution and inclusive Sankirtan practices aimed at increasing the number of devotees that participate in the Sankirtan process. And receiving the award today is Vishaka Prabhu, who's been here at the helm encouraging everyone to take the Sankirtan, to increase the Sankirtan process, as have many other leaders who incidentally all went out on book distribution today. The whole MC was out there in the, what was it today? 90-degree temperature, distributing books in Watford. And we have photographic evidence, no AI involved, to show you later of that incident. And so on behalf of the Book Distribution Ministry, the BBT, and the devotees all over the world, we thank you very much. And I give you this Sharing Means Caring award to the Bhaktivedanta Manor. Thank you very much and congratulations. Hello, hello. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Help me out. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande Arotiko Shobha Shiva Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande Arotiko Shobha Jagajana Manaloha Gaurangera Roti Shobha Jagajana Manaloha Jagajana Manaloha Jagajana Manaloha Jagajana Manaloha Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Dakse Neni Sai Chan Bane Gadadha Nikate Advaita Srini Vashakradara Vase Ache Gaudachan Ratna Singhasane Arati Korena Brahma Adi Deva Gane Nara Hari Hari Kori Shama Rajunaya Gala deshe vanamala kore chalamala. Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gadakara Thakur Vakasi Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sankara Thakur Vakasi Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sankara Shiva Jaya Jaya Gura Chande Aruti Koshoma Shiva Jaya Jaya Gura Chande Aruti Koshoma Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, one more time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey. More Mahamantra. Namabaja. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai go, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai go to Hari Bo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Keep going. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Go Premanande. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Stottara Sattasi Shima. His Divine Grace A.T. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Stottara Sattasi Shima. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Zagoho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokapinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Namdeep Dham Ki. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki. Sambeta Bhaktivinoda Ki. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Namaste Narashingaya. Pralalada Dadaine. Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha. Shivatanka Nakalaye. Ito Nrishingha Parato Nrishingho. Yato Yato Yamitato Nrishingha. Bahirnishingo Ridaye Nrishingho. Nrishinghamading Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamala Varena Kamadita Shingam. Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanu Bindam. Keshavadita Narahare Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Tanu Bindam. Keshavadita Narahare Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Shri Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Savakara Kamala Varena Kama Bhuta Stringam Dalita Hiranya Kashi Bhutanu Vingam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare Savakara Kamalabare Nakamaduta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshava Krishna Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Do Premanande Doyamita Chaitanya Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolare Shobai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolore Shobai Shikadiya Shobnadiya Preche Neche Gorani Paye Shikadiya Haribo Bolore Shikadiya Jacho Beshe Kacho Habu Dubu by verse circle. Go to verse circle. Haribo Bolore Miche Mayad Boshe Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolore Shobai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bol Bol Shobai Shri Krishna Das E Vishwas Koleto Agat Duko Nai Haribo Bolore Ji Krishna Da Radha Krishna Bol Krishna bolbe jabe pulaka habe jorbi anki boli thai Krishna Krishna bolbe jabe pulaka habe jorbi anki boli thai Krishna pulaka habe Hari bol bolo Krishna bolbe jabe Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re shobhai Shri Shri Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re shobhai Radha Krishna bolo Sange cholo Hey matra bikatai Hari bolo Radha Krishna bolo Radha Krishna bolo Shobhai Shri Shri Radha Krishna bolo Shobhai Jai Sat Ladipod Bhaktivedanta Bolen Chakon Om Nam Gai Jai Jai Sakla Vipod Bhaktivedanta Bolen Chakon Om Nam Gai Jai Bhaktivedanta Bolen Hari bolo re jai Sakla Vipod Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re shobhai Okay, get ready. Shri Shri Radha Krishna bol bol bolo re shobhai backwards Jai Sakla Vipod Bhaktivedanta Bolen Chakon Jai Sakla Radha Krishna bolo Sange cholo Hey matra bikatai Radha Krishna Krishna bolo Sange cholo Hey matra bikatai Krishna bolbe jabe pulaka habe jorbe anki boli thai Krishna e vishwas chole to arji kona ki Krishna Niche mayan niche jasho beche kasho hamu dubu bai Shikariya shnadiya preche niche jani thai Shikariya shnadiya preche niche jani thai Hari bol nitai gora hari bol Nitai gora hari bol nitai gora hari bol Hare Krishna. Gopremanande Haribo. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, you should always chant Hare Krishna. Chant the names of Radha Krishna. And he says, Eshikadiya Shabnadiya Precheneche Gornitai. The Gornitai, one day in Nadia, went down the street singing this song. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote these songs specifically to patrol around town, to bring people closer to Krishna consciousness. And he said, Miche Maya Boshe Jacho Beshe Kacho Habudubu. Everyone say Habudubu. Now say it 3 times. That's the sound of drowning. It's bubbles coming up. It's Anamanapiya in Bengali. So Habudubu, Habudubu. He said, you're drowning in this world. So take shelter of the names of Krishna. He says, Jeev Krishna das e bishwas kole to ardukonai. So you're suffering now, you're drowning, but if you take one thing, that is, I'm the servant of Krishna, say it. I'm the servant of Krishna. So for you, know there's no more misery. Then Krishna bolbe jabe pula kabe jorbi anki bolitai. If you go on chanting Hare Krishna, then soon your hairs will stand on end, tears will come to your eyes, because your heart will melt. And you'll have this wonderful love for Krishna by chanting the Lord's names. Then he says, Radha Krishna bolo shange cholo e matra bikochai. Said, we're only begging one thing when we go to Watford. We say, just come back with us and chant Hare Krishna. That's all we ask. And then Jai Shakla Vipod Bhakti no Bolin Jakon Om Nom Kai. He said, there will be no fear. If you just chant Hare Krishna, take shelter of the holy name of the Lord as your only business, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is assuring that we'll have no more fear in our life. So Bhaktivinoda is a great acharya, and he revived the Sankirtan movement. He's given special mercy. Prabhupada said one time when he was coming back from his morning walk in Mayapur, and we were having a huge kirtan outside the Chandrodaya Mandir. And on the walk we couldn't hear what he was saying, but later we heard the recording. And so somebody said to Prabhupada that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had predicted this, that people would come from all over the world, from Europe, from America, from Japan, and they'd all chant together. And so you've fulfilled his dream, you've brought them all here. And Prabhupada said, yes, but by Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mercy, they will be delivered. He can deliver them. So he deferred to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we're the recipients of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mercy through Srila Prabhupada and his great bhajans. And he wrote this one that we sang for the Gaura Artik, just because he was constantly seeing the spiritual world and the beauty of the Panchatattva, and he could sing about it for us. And you can see his original writings there in Calcutta, how he wrote the whole thing and then he added one more line. You can see in his Bengali handwriting, he inserted a little part. And today well, I probably shouldn't say anything. Anyways, is it a secret? I got to hold Bhaktivinoda Thakur's pen that he used to write that song. So it had special meaning to be able to sing it tonight. Hare Krishna. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Gaurnitai, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and all the great acharyas, if you so desire, please fill our hearts with the transcendental sound of the spiritual world, so we can no longer hear the sounds of the material world any longer, and let us spread it all over the world so that everyone on earth and in the sky, the birds, the worms, and the ants can go back home, back to Godhead. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please say Hare Krishna. Vanchakaplavishta kripasundabhevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha nantakori vaishnaviki jai.